Good evening. That sounds good. My name is Jacqueline Jones. I am the Associate Director of the Graduate Student Life and Wellbeing, also the Interim Co-Director of the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. Welcome. As you begin to settle in your seats, we will open our program with this welcome song, Land Acknowledgement, and Call to Order, followed by the singing of the Black National Anthem, led by Dr. Carmelita Whitfield. We will sing the first and last verse. Words to the song can be found in your programs. Thank you.
Oh, bonjour. Muskoganyo nindigo, wezao ganeb nindigo, makobenes nindigo, makwando tem. So I'm Anishinaabe from the Lake of the Woods in Ontario, Canada. And I just said my 3 Anishinaabe names that I was given at an early age. In our area, we follow strict protocol on song and dance traditions ceremony. And I'm truly honored to be here as a guest here at your college, university, your institution. I'm greatly honored also to be here as a guest performer to do the opening song for you. I'm honored also to be here amongst many of our brothers and sisters, all the ethnic groups that are here representing here at this event. I'm really humbled, and in our Anishinaabe way, everything that we do, we have protocol. We have a process. And one of the things that we always do when we begin to open our ceremonies, our events, or whatever it may be, we begin with the offering of tobacco, asema. We also sing songs to open such ceremonies. And tonight I want to share with you a song that I composed a few years ago. And it's a melody, it's a chant, it's a special song that really talks about our past, our ways of suffering as Native folks, indigenous people, the things that happen to our children in residential schools and boarding schools, and how we commemorate and honor them. So many of them are still didn't make it home. They were buried at these residential schools, boarding schools. And so, thinking about that, I created this song to not only commemorate them, but also really to celebrate the lives of our young, missing indigenous kids, children, our relatives, each and every one of us that are sitting here in this circle, in this building. We are all related. And that's one of our truly important teachings that we have, is always to be kind to one another, no matter what nation you come from, what ethnicity you come from. My mother and father, they're really poor. We grew up really poor. We had nothing, a lot of times no food or anything like that, electricity, no water. But they always were humble. They always said, always treat people with respect no matter what. And I felt like tonight I wanted to share that with you, the things that we were taught when we were young. And as an Anishinaabe person, I'm really proud of that. Growing up being a singer and a dancer and a composer of Anishinaabe music. So with that said, this is also an honor to you, each and every one of you that are sitting here. This song is for you, and it commemorates every one of us. hey, oh, hey, oh. Way on, hey, oh, oh, hey, oh, way Aha, miigwech, nongum business doeg. Thank you so much for listening to me. Oh.
I think I said this the last time, but I wish I could sing like that. Hey everybody, hello. Shea Timothy Benali Nishia, Bilagana Nishla, with Ahni Bashichin, Bilagana Dashiche, Arot Orkoja Dashanala, Aro look at it a lera sha. Aro Penn State University Asia Orta is my school. Aro Asia Ghan is becoming my home. That was my Navajo introduction, or Dene, as we refer to ourselves as. And in it, I expressed my 4 clans, 2 of which I got from my parents, and 2 of which I got from my paternal and maternal grandfathers. I also expressed that I'm from the community of Ganado, Arizona, which is on the Navajo Nation. And as for my status here as a student, I'm a Recreation, Parks, and Tourism Management master's student. And I'm also a residence life coordinator here on campus. Today I was asked by Dr. Stephanie Preston to provide a land acknowledgement for the Paul Robeson Center's 50th year anniversary. And as a relatively new concept, land acknowledgements, much like my Navajo introduction, provide context as to why we are at this event and living and learning on the land that we are today. This acknowledgement was formed by my colleagues, Tracy Peterson and Dr. Holly Colago, as they walked beside me about 3 years ago. And it's on behalf of the Indigenous Peoples Student Association, which was formed around the same time. And so that is currently the only source of support specifically for Indigenous students on campus. And so when I'm asked to read a land acknowledgement or an acknowledgement of land at these events, I make sure that I'm doing what I can to shed light on the realities as we continue to fight for our existence. I say this as a visiting scholar to these lands that we call Pennsylvania myself. As being from the Navajo Nation, I was uninvited, like every one of us. And if you look around, you'll see that there are no reservations or designated native lands here in Pennsylvania. And sadly, many institutions will look at this reality and use it as an excuse to not allocate funding, efforts, or to recruit or retain Indigenous students, which is why we started the Indigenous Peoples Student Association. Because Pennsylvania does have a significant history, a significant Indigenous history. not only through unlawful and unethical dispossession of our lands, but through forced assimilation at the Carlisle Indian School just down the road. Where indigenous children, including Navajo students, were brutalized for speaking their language to you like I did just now. So as I read this land acknowledgement, I implore you to remember that Tadi Kont Huniklon, we are still here, and we are far more than a race or ethnicity checkbox or any other Western classification. We are sovereign nations, much like countries, and we still have very lawful treaties and agreements with the US government, which is why I'm offering this acknowledgement of land. In collaboration with the Indigenous Peoples Student Association and the Indigenous Faculty and Staff Alliance, the Pennsylvania state campuses are located on the original homelands of the Erie, Haudenosaunee, that is the Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, Mohawk, and Tuscarora, the Lenape, that is the Delaware Nation, the Delaware Tribe, Stockbridge, Muncie, Monongahela, the Shawnee, that is the absentee Eastern in Oklahoma, the Muncie, the Susquehannock, the Wajaji, and Osage Nations. As a land-grant institution, we acknowledge and honor the traditional caretakers of these lands as we strive to understand and model their responsible stewardship. We also acknowledge the longer history of these lands and our place in that history. So in closing, I want to remind you all that this legacy of genocide, dispossession, and silencing does not have to be the next 50 years, nor our final story. In fact, I know of many better stories that are told every day of the lifelong friendships that I've made here personally at Penn State as I live out my ancestors' wildest dreams. Nevertheless, taking this acknowledgement seriously is the first step in claiming our healing as a nation as we bring our differences before an almighty God. So I beg you to join us in telling this new story of revival and redemption over our beloved state, so that we are actually able to live up to we are as we stand with students and groups who are fighting much bigger battles than a football game or for a land acknowledgement. And so that we are able to tell our children and grandchildren that we did not allow ourselves to preach oppression or to stay grieving, but that we took initiative and set the precedent for honoring our existing policies and fancy diversity statements in order to bring home our people. So please enjoy the rest of this event, and I thank you once again to Dr. Preston and everybody else who invited me in for your ears. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim. In the spirit of African tradition, we ask our elders for permission to begin our ceremony. Thank you. As the interim senior director of the Paul Robeson Cultural Center, welcome to this joyous occasion, celebrating the Paul Robeson Cultural Center's 50th year at Penn State. That's something to clap about. And as I get acclimated up here, we will move forward with the singing of the national anthem, the Black National Anthem by Dr. Carmelita Whitfield.
For those who are able to stand, please stand.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicings rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new days begun. Let us march on till victory is won. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on our way, Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in thy path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the path of the past with woo. Lest our hearts strung from the we forget thee, shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. Thank you. You may be seated.
It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Neeli Bendapudi. Dr. Neeli Bendapudi began her tenure as Penn State's 19th president on May 9th, 2022. With a nearly 30-year career as a leader in higher education and in business, Dr. Bendapudi is a renowned educator, academic, and executive. She leads Penn State's 24 campus network and online World Campus with a dedicated focus on advancing excellence and creating opportunities for faculty, students, and for staff to strive. Before coming to Penn State, Dr. Bendapudi was president of the University of Louisville, where she oversaw a series of transformative efforts spanning academics, finance, the health enterprise, philanthropy, athletics, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and more. She previously served in a variety of administrative roles, including as provost, executive vice chancellor, and dean of the School of Business at the University of Kansas. Dr. Bendapudi has also worked in the private sector. She served as the executive vice president and chief customer officer for Huntington National Bank, and she has consulted for dozens of the world's largest companies and organizations. Dr. Bendapudi is a values-driven leader who develops and articulates clear, compelling visions for success. She believes strongly in the transformative power of higher education and its impact on individuals and communities. Driven by a commitment to fostering student success and student experience, a sense of belonging for all Penn Staters, and access and affordability, she continues to advance the university's values and its land-grant mission of teaching, research, and public service. Penn State's 19th president, Dr. Neely Bendapudi.
Could there have been a better start to this evening? The blessings, the land acknowledgement, the Black National Anthem, so moving. I am honored to be here with you today. Penn Staters, friends, neighbors, esteemed guests, we have several in attendance here. It is an honor, it's a joy, it's a privilege to be here with you tonight to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Penn State's Paul Robeson Cultural Center. I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge many groups who work together to make tonight's celebration a reality. Penn State Student Affairs, the Affirmative Action Office, the staff of the Hub Robeson Center, the Office of Graduate Equity Programs, Penn State Libraries, Penn State Student Caucuses, the Paul Robeson Cultural Center ambassadors and the search committee, the graduate school, the staff of the Bryce Jordan Center, and WPSU. It is a testament to the strength of our community and the unifying power of diversity and equity to see so many groups and individuals come together to help make this important event possible. Could we please join in a huge round of applause for all of the people to thank them for the hard work that went into planning tonight's celebration? Please. I also want to extend my thank you to the local and state officials who are in the audience tonight. You are valued partners in the pursuit of equity and justice, and we appreciate your presence here tonight. While we will hear more about them in tonight's program, I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to congratulate the winners of this evening's student awards. These awards celebrate the best of Penn State. They celebrate humanitarianism, activism, social justice, and academic and personal excellence. Thank you to each of tonight's award winners. We appreciate you for your passion, your leadership, and excellence, and I'm so very proud of you. Because it's our students, you're going to applaud them now and later. Is that okay? Give them a round of applause. For 5 decades, the Paul Robeson Cultural Center has been at the heart of everything that we do. It's been the heart of programming. It's been the place that has been the safe space for supporting and enriching the educational experience of students from every background. Thrown open wide arms and said, come on in, whoever you are, we embrace you. It has been particularly important for students from underrepresented and minoritized communities and identities. It's been a stronghold against intolerance and injustice, and a home for fostering a university culture in which every Penn Stater truly feels a sense of genuine inclusion and belonging. Quite candidly, my very first week on the job, it might have even been my very first day, one of the first forays I made was to the PRCC. Tonight is an opportunity for us to reflect on our history, celebrate the successes that have brought us to this moment, and recommit ourselves, because the work is not done. Recommit ourselves for the work that remains to be done in the name of justice, equity, and equality. I acknowledge that there are challenges ahead, but these are challenges, as Tim Berners-Lee said, these are challenges that we are equipped to face. These are efforts that we are passionate about continuing to advance. Importantly, neither these challenges nor the work that remains to be done outshines the victory that so many of you contributed to bring us tonight to celebrate. It's extremely important that we never forget our history. Never forget our history. That's the acknowledgement of the lands. The Paul Robeson Cultural Center traces its history back to the late 1960s, a time of great movement towards equity and equality in American society. It was a time when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and other titans of the civil rights movement confronted injustice, battled against racism and bigotry, and they helped our nation better live up to its lofty ideals of liberty and justice for all. In 1968, Black students at Penn State faced prejudice, rejection, and experiences not shared by their white peers. Black students would report landlords refusing to rent to them, restaurants that would deny entry to interracial couples. And on top of all of these affronts, Black students saw an institution that did not reflect them as part of the community. I understand that at the time, there were fewer than 200 African American students enrolled at the university. So what did Penn State's Black student leaders do? They stood up and they led. The Black Student Union, formerly known as the Douglass Association, led efforts to educate the wider university community on the struggles faced by their Black peers. They led protests, demonstrations, sit-ins. They led conversations with university leaders about the needs of their community for greater inclusion within the student body, within the faculty body, within the curriculum, and within the services and resources available to them. They let their voices be heard. In large part, it is a result of their leadership and advocacy of these visionary students that Penn State changed for the better. The university expanded its recruitment of Black students and faculty members. Penn State introduced a new Black Studies program that would later expand into the present-day African American Studies Department. And bringing us to why we are all here tonight, the university worked with the Black Student Union to officially establish the Penn State Black Cultural Center in 1972. That was the foundation for today's Paul Robeson Cultural Center. We call these student leaders founders. Founders who did not think the work was done with them, but they laid the foundation for not what was to come next. These founders are, by extension, founders of the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. This title recognizes and honors their contributions to our university. In many ways, not only the PRCC, but the university is built atop the foundations these founders helped to create. As visitors enter the Paul Robeson Cultural Center, they are greeted by a plaque that recognizes these leaders who, through their courage and commitment, made the center a reality. I understand that several founders are here with us tonight. Would the founders who are in attendance please rise if you are able? Thank you. Thank you, each of you, for being here. In the years following the founding of the Black Cultural Center, the important new resource provided a wealth of enriching educational and social support for Penn State's Black students, helping them find a home within a community and fostering a sense of inclusion and belonging. As Penn State continued to grow throughout the years, so too did our understanding of the need to support and enrich every member of our community, especially those who come from underrepresented, minoritized communities and identities. So in 1984, Penn State officially expanded support for the Black Cultural Center and renamed it the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. This new name, I understand, was chosen by the center's students, faculty, and staff in recognition of the many accomplishments and the humanitarian spirit of actor and activist Paul Robeson, who distinguished himself throughout his life as a tireless advocate against racism, against injustice, against oppression. His name inspires us, as do the founders. You inspire us to live up to the legacy that he left behind. Intellectual curiosity, academic excellence, and an unwavering dedication to equity. The Paul Robeson Cultural Center maintains a purposeful focus on supporting Penn State's Black students, honoring its history, while also embracing and celebrating ethnic, racial, cultural diversity in all of its forms. This is a place where intersectionality and interconnectedness are truly embraced, where racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, and the many other isms that truly perpetuate inequity and inequality are opposed and confronted. The PRCC achieves this through a wide range of programming. You know this. Since the center's inception, it's continued its vital mission. When it was given its current name in 1984, the center also received a significant remodel at its then home. In 1999, the university would make a major investment through the move to the newly renovated Hub Robeson Center. I'm pleased to report that Penn State has continued to invest in the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. If you haven't been recently, please welcome, come and see it. Just over the last year, we renovated and repainted the PRCC's facilities, restored the center's art collection, and installed new furniture. This is not enough, but this is a signal that we continue to realize the importance of the PRCC for our university and for the students the center serves. As I stand before you tonight, I know that I'm not only looking back at the past 50 years, I stand with you here today looking forward to the next 50 years. I'm sure everyone in this room knows the challenges we face on a national and global scale when we think about advancing racial justice and unbuilding the systemic barriers to equity. Even on a smaller scale, here at Penn State, I know many founders are probably encouraged, but also discouraged that we still have to fight, to support, to diversify our student body, recruit and retain more faculty from underrepresented backgrounds, and conduct scholarly work that promotes an understanding and appreciation of the range of human diversity. I promise you, by all I hold holy, I promise you, these are priorities for Penn State, but even more importantly, these are my personal priorities. I give you my word of sacred honor that these are priorities for me. Fostering greater diversity, equity, inclusion, to strive for that elusive and yet so important sense of belonging. The idea that no matter who you are, you bring your fullness to work and to class. We embrace you, we respect you, we support you. These are very key factors for me. We know there's a lot more to do, but I want you to know that there's at least one member of my board here. I don't know if there are other members of the board. I saw Randy Houston. Randy, are you here? Okay. You can check with my board because these are my bosses. From the time I was interviewed to the time I came here, I have made it extraordinarily clear that diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging will be part of my priority. If If you hire me, you should know what you're getting. And in fact, for the first time in our university's history, we now have a transparent, publicly accessible diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging dashboard. It compiles data from across the university. You no longer have to give us A for effort. You can see whether we're making progress. Institutions talk about inputs. That's great. But what we need to do is talk about outputs. We don't give the football team a pass if they don't do well by saying the inputs, the trial was great. We hold them accountable to the results. And it's the same for every sphere of life at Penn State. Making a difference is what Penn Staters do. We have never been a community that's happy, content with good enough. We've always strived to reach even greater heights. And the mission and the work of the PRCC provides the perfect example of what can happen when Penn State is intentional in advancing equity and creating an environment that fosters inclusion. I am so, so grateful to the leadership of Penn State Student Affairs and to the PRCC for their work in this space every day. To our founders, your advocacy and your activism urged us to strive to greater heights. And to each of you, thank you for being here tonight. It's important to take a moment and say thank you, all the people who are doing the work, and to say we are all ready to do the work of what it takes to work alongside one another to create a world that we all want to be in, a world where each of us belongs. And when we say we are, as we heard, it's not just an athletic cheer, but it's a reminder that we are all connected and that we are truly only as strong, only as happy, only as fulfilled as the families and communities we nurture, we build, we invest in, and I make you that promise. This is something that's deeply meaningful. We cannot do it alone, but we can do it together. Thank you so very, very much for inviting me here today.
Thank you, President Bendapudi, for those remarks. It is so true that from the leadership and advocacy of our visionary students, Penn State has been changed for the better forever. Next, we have reflections from the co-presidents of the Asian Pacific Islander Desi American, better known as the APITA Caucus, and the immediate past president of the Latino Caucus. Following their reflections, we will receive a blessing led by Lydia Abdullah, former director of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion in Finance and Business, and a very active community leader and advocate.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Arti Kalor, and I serve as the co-president of the Asian Pacific Islander Desi American Caucus, better known as the APITA Caucus. And I serve along with my co-president here, Cindy Cho. The APITA Caucus is one of the three main multicultural caucuses here at Penn State. We serve alongside Black Caucus and Latino Caucus. And we serve as the umbrella organization for multiple student organizations, and our other part is that we serve as a small voice for the Asian community when we're meeting with Penn State administration, or we're just trying to represent the Asian community within the community. And one of the most unique attributes about our Asian community is the uniqueness. We have unique cultures that span from East Asia to South Asia to the Pacific Islands. And following the COVID-19 pandemic, when we arrived to campus, Cindy and I really noticed that there was a big disconnect within the diverse student body that we have here, as well as general discouragement after the rise in Asian hate following the pandemic. So when Cindy and I stepped into our roles, we made it our mission to advocate for the Asian community on campus and to empower them to celebrate our uniqueness and to just rise as student leaders here on campus. And we're very proud to say that we've made a lot of strides in achieving that goal. And we really could not have done it without the support of the PRCC. Special shout out to Brian Pichowski. Thank you so much for just supporting us and believing in us when we didn't. And I'd also really like to thank the other two caucuses, Latino Caucus and Black Caucus. Thank you so much for keeping Tri-Caucus alive and keeping us active and just supporting us throughout our time as presidents and supporting our caucus in the past as well. And we hope to continue that relationship in the future. And I'll now pass it on to Cindy to talk a little bit more about what we've done as a caucus this year. Thank you.
Hello, sorry, you don't have to clap yet. My name is Cindy Cho. I'm the co-president as well of the PETA Caucus. Thank you everyone for having me here. I did want to go back on what Arthi mentioned. We have over 20 cultural groups on campus that are related to PETA cultures or PETA, performances, things like that. There are over 45 countries in Asia, all different languages, backgrounds, heritage, and of course bringing us all together and connecting us has been a lot, especially after, again, what happened with the pandemic. But I'm really grateful that we're able to start on this work and that we've been able to build on it along with so much support from the community and the PRCC and the people here at the university. It's something we hope to continue building on and continuing even as we graduate and move on. One thing I do want to mention is that for the first time in State College, we will be having an APITA or API Heritage Festival in celebration of API Celebration or Heritage Month in May. And with the first time of it happening, I want to thank a lot of the community members, Nalini and the Bureau members who have helped so much in planning this and bringing this together. It will be actually tomorrow at 11 to 4. If anyone would like to come, it's at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Plaza. There are so many people we have to thank here for all the work we've been able to do this year. But for now, that's what we have. Thank you again.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Garza, or Mikey if you know me. I'm a second-year student, first-generation college student, double majoring in criminology and sociology, coming far away from home. I knew it was critical in finding my community and others like me. In my first semester at University Park, I started working at the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. Matter of fact, my very first day of school, I started working and got right to work. In this center, I learned about the affinity groups and other caucuses such as Black Caucus, Latino Caucus, and PETA Caucus, and I knew I wanted to get involved. It was important to me to join Latino Caucus and find an ease in my community here being so far away. Joining Latino Caucus in my first semester at University Park helped me forge my support system and bring others to the Latino community, make them feel at home. This has helped us execute the mission of the Penn State Latino Caucus, which is to politically advocate for the Latinx issues within the university, to promote academic excellence, and to promote unity amongst the diverse Latinx identities at this campus. With the help of the Paul Robeson Cultural Center, we are able to accomplish our mission and connect with others. And to add, the center serves as a home for many Latinx students, some who have office spaces like the Puerto Rican Student Association. We're able to connect with one another and collaborations are able to form. And Afro-Latina and Afro-Latino students are able to feel a sense of their intersectionalities, cultures, be in one space. The Paul Robeson Cultural Center helps many capacities the Latino Caucus pursues. When it comes to programming events like Café con Leche, Noche Latina, or even Latinx graduation, none of these events would be successful without the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. Further, the greater Penn State community benefits from the center by being served Latino food at these events because this is a way we can highlight our culture in this city, in this very, very space that does not have Latinidad. The Paul Robeson Cultural Center is a space for many Latino students, and I'm glad to have this center as a support system for the Latino Caucus and the Latino community here at Penn State. Thank you all and have a great night.
Good evening, family and friends. You still awake out there? If I'm here, that means you're about ready to eat. I will not ask you to stand, but I will ask you to give reverence as we bless the food and prepare for our meal. Father God, we thank you, first of all, for allowing us the privilege to gather here tonight. Thank you for those who've come over the highways and the byways to join in this celebration. We ask you to bless the food that has been prepared for us. Let it nourish our bodies and give us strength and wholeness. Lord, bless those hands that prepared this food and bless those who will serve it. And after we dine, Lord, help us to continue in fellowship with one another and enjoy the evening. And all these things we ask in his name. Amen.
So I am not going to stand between you and dinner. Wow, okay. But I will give, the Bryce Jordan Center staff will dismiss the tables, but we will start with the president's table. While you're getting your dinner, please be reminded there's a photo booth in the back. There's also a step and repeat with photos over to my left. There's ice cream and coffee stations. There's a cash bar in the back, and don't forget about the silent auction. Don't forget about the silent auction. So we will begin dinner. Dinner is being served now. I think the staff is preparing, and we can start moving there. I think that's it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Barry Reddish, and I'm fortunate to be one of the people on the plaque that we are celebrating as the 50th anniversary of the Paul Robeson Center. Originally entitled Walnuttos, the Walnut Building, it fulfilled a cultural gap in Happy Valley for Black students. And that tradition was started actually when we first attended some people I'm going to mention. Natalie Burrell, Darrell Trent, and Zwadi Abdul Malik. We were all attendees at the Delaware campus, which is now Brandywine. There, we started some programs. We actually had a Malcolm X day in a Penn State campus. I don't think that's ever been duplicated. And so when we arrived in State College after attending the Delaware campus, there's a noticeable cultural gap that's missing. And we entreated ourselves to secure some lounge areas. I know there was one down in the basement of the towers in the East Halls. And eventually that desire expanded into the Walnut Building. At this point, I would like to say that we must encourage the increasing amount of this kind of cultural awareness in Penn State. And make sure that Happy Valley is happy for everyone. I don't think you can be exclusive at this particular time of our history and culture. And I think everyone needs to insist on the continued recruitment and retention of Black students at Pennsylvania State University, a place that we actually love and admire. It is a world-class university. So, welcome, and hopefully this kind of fulfilled my obligation to introduce the Walnut Center, Walnuttos, and which eventually became the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Toby Jenkins, and I had the absolute honor of serving as the director of the Paul Robeson Cultural Center at Penn State University for 5 incredible years from 2004 to 2009. And when I think about those memories and what those 5 years meant to me, that time in the Cultural Center, I would say that the first thing that comes to mind is the idea of responsibility. I came to the Cultural Center inheriting it from the incomparable Larry Young, who had spent 30 years pouring so much talent, skills, expertise, and heart into the Cultural Center. And so we were very much aware of our responsibility to take that baton and do something important with it, to build and grow on that foundation, to honor and respect it, and to move in really important ways that would take the Cultural Center in new directions, but never forgetting the path from which we came and the history and legacy of the Cultural Center that was so important to alumni, to faculty and staff, and to the students that were currently there. And so that sense of responsibility was what we carried with us as we move forward. And I think that moves me into the other ethic that kind of frames what the Cultural Center has meant to me during my time there. And that's the ethic of possibility, the spirit of possibility. During the 5 years that we spent there, we were really trying to push and expand and broaden our ideas of what a cultural center could be on a campus, how big cultural center programs could become, how large the cultural center's identity could be at a university as big as Penn State. We stretched the boundaries of our service to campus and got off of the University Park campus and took cultural center programs to campuses across the Commonwealth. We started our first education abroad experiences and some domestic travel experiences as well. So going to Trinidad and Tobago and Senegal and Washington, D.C. and Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, New Jersey. We really, really pushed the possibility of what the university could expect from its cultural center. And I can see really clearly that all of those histories, all of those years that all of us have spent, students, faculty, staff, that have given and given and given and poured their heart into the cultural center, that all of that effort continues to guide, to fuel the incredible work that continues to be done in the cultural center today. When it comes to cultural education and cultural service to college students, the reality is there is no such thing as enough. We can never give our students enough of their culture, enough learning experiences or education about their culture. And that is the spirit of the Paul Robeson Cultural Center, a hard-headed determination to give Penn State students the very best of their culture, the very best of the college experience. And so I continue to follow the Cultural Center on Instagram and social media, and I'm proud of the work that continues to be done, the paths that continue to be taken, the ways that the Cultural Center continues to grow, and how it continues to serve the Penn State campus. Congratulations, everyone, on the celebration of 50 incredible years. Legacy is really, really, really important on a college campus. And what we have at Penn State, because we all still claim Penn State, what we have at Penn State is an incredible legacy in the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. Thank you.
All right, peace and love, everybody. What's up, Penn State? My name is Dr. Tony Keefe Jr. I served as the Paul Robeson Cultural Center's graduate assistant from 2005 to 2007, and then became the assistant director of the PRCC 2008 to 2009, and then I served as the interim director of the Robe from 2009 to 2010. What a wonderful place of joy and learning and love, and we had so much fun with programs and the spoken word and the bed and Dream and the World Cultural Festival. Like, so many wonderful programs are coming out of the PRCC. Proud of y'all. Happy 50th anniversary to the Robe. I still love y'all very much. Peace.
Hi, my name's Carlos Wiley. I was the director of the Paul Robeson Cultural Center from 2010 until 2022. The PRCC means to me that students of color at Penn State University will always have a place they can call home, a place where they can go, be themselves, feel safe, engage in activities, programs, and opportunities to learn, develop, and engage with one another in ways that they just cannot do in other spaces. 50 years ago, a group of students came together and said, "We need a space that we can call home." That space is the PRCC. I want to say happy 50th anniversary to the PRCC and many, many, many more.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Danette Preston. I am currently the Associate Dean for Graduate Educational Equity and Chief Diversity Officer for Graduate Education in the Graduate School here at Penn State. I previously served as the Interim Director of the Cultural Center in 2010 prior to Mr. Carlos Wiley's arrival. I currently serve as the Interim Senior Director in the Cultural Center, and I've been here since July of 2022. The Cultural Center has long since been a staple in Penn State's history and in the community. As a graduate student, I frequented the center when Mr. Larry Young was the director. Mr. Young made this place a home away from home, fostered community, built relationships, built bridges. It was something pretty awesome. In addition to that, I remember Mr. Young's famous collard greens, his sweet tea, his yams and sweet potatoes, the meals that he would prepare in the conference room and having us build community as a Black Graduate Student Association. He also served as our advisor at that time. After Mr. Young retired, Toby Jenkins took on the reins of the center, and Dr. Jenkins brought in a number of co-curricular programs where she built on the sort of legacy that Mr. Young had, but also broadened that aspect. You saw cultural immersion trips to Africa and a number of other places. You saw community service gatherings. You saw engagement in a number of different spaces. So the Cultural Center under each director has fostered and framed itself in a different way. After Toby decided to move on and take a job in the faculty realms, Tony Keith served as the director. And during his programming and processes, we held true to sort of the staple pieces of the center. The stoop remained the stoop, which was stoop, bed, and a number of other different names. Dream, it's the spoken word piece of the center that remained as part of the center's sort of legacy. Beyond the stoop, we also had the World's Cultural Festival, where we were able to engage with different aspects of culture and community with the students, offering opportunities for students to showcase their talents aligned with their culture, as well as showcase their food offerings and things of that nature. And Mr. Wiley, on his way in, also provided opportunities to engage with a number of different speakers, engage with a number of things government and socially, as far as the activism piece is concerned. Now, as we move into the next phase of the Cultural Center, the interim team has held it down and tried to keep things afloat while we're in this sort of lull in process. But overall, the Cultural Center is a cornerstone in the community here at Penn State. We know that without the Cultural Center, students would not have a home away from home. It would not be as welcoming. we wouldn't have sort of the advocacy lens outside, or an advocacy lens or a space for students to sort of challenge themselves in that area. So as we move forward and as we begin to see the things that the Cultural Center was, what it currently is, there's a bright and hopeful future for where the Cultural Center will be. Congratulations, Penn State. Happy 50th Cultural Center. Happy 50th. It depends on who you are and which generation you're from. We've called it the PRCC, we've called it the Robe. The new generation has another name for it, but happy 50th, congratulations. Glad to be a part of this legacy. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It is rare to find places that feel like home at a university as large as Penn State, and on a campus as expansive as University Park, with over 1,000 recognized student organizations and 46,000 undergraduate students. However, for decades, the Paul Robeson Cultural Center, commonly known as the PRCC, has been that safe haven for underrepresented students. A place where students can build community, speak their minds, and most importantly, show up as themselves. My name is Ava Starks. I am a third-year student. I serve as president of the Penn State Student Black Caucus, and I am an ambassador at the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. While I could speak to the biography of Paul Robeson, the history of the center, or the arts and statues that line the walls, I am here to attest to what the PRCC means to students and what the center means to me. The Paul Robeson Cultural Center is a landmark within the Black community and the multicultural community here at Penn State. Since being established in 1972, the PRCC has led programs, lent support to students during times of distress, and cultivated the appreciation and celebration of diverse perspectives, experiences, and cultures. The purpose and mission of the center are to serve students in the development of character, conscience, and social responsibility by fostering identity development, social justice, and inclusion. The PRCC supports cultural-based student organizations and caucuses and hosts programs in the following areas of identity development, social justice initiatives, cultural enrichment, and scholarly initiatives and cultural education programs. The center has been an important part of my undergraduate experience. Whether I am just stopping in to talk to friends, dropping into office hours for the various student organizations that call the space home, or participating in annual events like the POC Pep Rally, the PRCC is a constant in my ever-changing experience as a student. I also want to speak to how the PRCC has supported me in my role as Black Caucus president. Earlier this academic year, I was struggling mentally with school, and Andre Colbreth, the interim director at the time, checked in with me and helped me out by assisting with Black Caucus-related responsibilities. Whether that was reserving a room or helping with an event, he took time out of his own schedule to make sure I was okay as a person, a student, and as a leader. There is a very personal aspect that comes with walking into the PRCC. You are seen for who you are. While the PRCC has been undergoing a transitional change this academic year, the interim staff has continued to uphold the values of the center, and they have worked tirelessly to ensure that students feel valued and supported, not only in our work as students, but also as individuals. This year has been far from easy, but I want to commend the PRCC staff for still doing the work to make this community a better place. In conclusion, I am honored to be speaking at the celebration tonight. The PRCC has impacted the Penn State community in so many ways over the past 50 years, and I'm excited to see how students continue the legacy and rich history of the center in the next 50 years and beyond. Thank you.
My name is Rhea Petty, and I serve as the president of the Black Graduate Student Association. I'm happy to be here with you all celebrating 50 years of the PRCC, fostering a sense of belonging and continuing legacy of advocacy and activism. Black students continue to play a major role in creating and advocating for spaces to counter negative racial campus climates and ultimately help foster their own success. Social justice movements and Black student activism on historically white campuses is not a new occurrence. It can be traced back as far as the late 1960s. A significant outcome of these early protests were the creation of Black student unions, Black cultural centers, Black studies departments, and academic support services specifically tailored for Black students. To counter the negative effects of an unsupportive and unwelcoming campus climate, Black students still rely on Black spaces and communities today. Many scholars have dedicated their research and careers to studying campus climate and addressing a sense of belonging. Studies reveal the importance and even the need for safe physical spaces on campus for Black students to connect with and support one another. The importance of having a cultural center or similar space where they can temporarily escape a negative environment should not be taken lightly. These spaces matter. Having a close and supportive community has been proven to be crucial for Black student success. During my undergraduate career at a different institution, I value having what many of us considered a home away from home. I leaned on the students, faculty, and staff there for cultural programs, affirming spaces, examples of educational success, peer support, academic encouragement, and more. So you can only imagine how devastated we were when our center was defaced with a racial slur. The physical space meant so much to us, and the community that was hurt by the hateful act meant even more. As institutions advance a commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, these spaces need to be protected, promoted, funded, and sustained. Despite us not having our own physical space on campus, BGSA has been that affirming space for me, where our joy and our well-being are prioritized. I look forward to supporting BGSA and building a stronger connection with the PRCC so we can continue to sustain these culturally affirming spaces and communities on our campus. Thank you.
In 1972, Penn State University officially established a cultural center as a unit on the University Park campus. Prior to 1972, the Black Cultural Center was a student-run enterprise located within the Walnut Building on campus. The institutional supported Black Cultural Center was created to help alleviate the cultural shock of Black students who were coming to what was perceived as an alien environment. The center was created to provide cultural, educational, and social support for Black students. It was also expected to provide a place for building bridges to understanding.
The students, faculty, and staff chose to name the center after Paul Robeson, a man whose achievements, dedication, and commitment in the areas of intellectual development, physical excellence, humanitarian spirit, and artistic accomplishments were to serve as a model for college students. In 1984, the Walnut Building was remodeled, rededicated, and named to the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. In 1999, the Robeson Center moved into a new building as a partner in the Hub Robeson Center complex. This new construction added more spaces and new facilities to the Robeson Center, and today stands as a model for cultural centers on university campuses.
In keeping with the center's historic legacy, the Paul Robeson Cultural Center's primary mission is to emphasize the diversity of the historic, current, and future roles of African American culture, reflecting the way in which this diversity intersects, overlaps, and complements the cultures of Latino, African, Asian, Pacific Islander, Desi American, Caribbean, European, and the indigenous peoples of North America. The programs, exhibits, displays, publications, literature, and activities of the Paul Robeson Cultural Center still instill and reinforce concepts like respect, acceptance, understanding, social and cultural competency, responsibility, civility, meaningful relationships, and the appreciation of the many individuals, cultures, and communities which comprise the student, faculty, staff, and community population of University Park, State College, and the broader Penn State University community.
Tonight, with the assistance of Dr. Ben DePuty, we honor the many founding members whose activism and advocacy created what we honor here tonight, the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. We ask that those founders in attendance join us on stage to be recognized. So each of our founding members of the Cultural Center will receive a token tonight. It's a pretty heavy token. It's a copy of the Penn State Lion. It's in brass, and it has the dates of the Cultural Center, so from 1972 to 2022. Thank you. Another round of applause for our founding members.
Get on your feet, people. Come on.
Your turn now.
Performance. Okay. Thank you. As our founders make their way back to their seats, our next performance is a spoken word piece performed by Jalen Monroe.
Evening, everybody. That was not good at all. I said good evening, everybody. Before I start, I would first like us to all give a big round of applause to all of our founders, all of the people who have made it possible for us to all be sitting here today, for Dr. Preston and all of the sponsors for helping to bring us this great event. So my name is Jalen Monroe, and I am currently a senior here, graduating in about 2 weeks. And the piece that I have for you today is entitled, I Am a Black Woman. And I am a very interactive speaker, so if you hear something that you like, please don't be afraid to interact with me. That's how I know that you're listening and that you're enjoying what I'm saying. Are we ready? I am a black woman. Divine, if I may say so myself. I mean fine, not like anything else. If you ever have the nerve to ask me, who do she think she is? I am of the utmost importance to the community in which I stand, because that's how a black woman marks her territory. I am a black woman. Proudly says it, unapologetic, crown on my head, even if you don't get it. I am a black woman. I am black excellence, a black queen, black everything. I am the envy of America. In which it stands, I will kneel before I put my hand across my chest, because divided is the nation that birthed us. I will stand in agony before I stand in solidarity, in which it stands, because I've been in question for years about my identity, that they beat and killed, enslaved, and engraved their insecurity into my soul. So excuse me if my black is angry or upset or frustrated. I've earned the right to my feelings after you've taken everything from me and tossed it away into the abyss. I am a black woman. Put some respect on my name when you see me with my head held high, walking into my purpose. I am black excellence, with beauty in my heart despite the oppression I face from society as we know it. I am a black queen with grace and a smile across my face, because even when they knock me down, I get back up, because I am a black woman. Thank you.
Thank you, Jalen, for that thought-provoking performance. In my opinion, our Penn State students are unmatched and unrivaled. Up next, in the spirit of Paul Robeson, we will honor our students who have demonstrated engagement within the Penn State community and excellence in their academics, service, arts, and activism, along with social justice.
The first award we are going to announce, the Student Awards, is the Humanitarian Award. Paul Robeson once stated that we must realize that our future lies chiefly in our own hands. The recipients of the Humanitarian Awards are students that have significant involvement and service within the Penn State, State College, or greater communities related to the advancement of people of color. The recipients of the 2022-2023 Humanitarian Awards are Michael Garza Jr., and Kayla Carlina. The students may be moving slow because they were not aware that they were getting these awards, so it's rather a shock.
Paul Robeson once said that art is not just to show life as it is, but to show life as it should be. Robeson left the practice of law to use his artistic talents in theater and music to promote African and African American history and culture. Over nearly 4 decades, he achieved worldwide acclaim as a vocalist and actor on stage and on screen. The recipients of the Arts and Activism Awards are students that demonstrate and promote awareness of social justice through art. The recipients of the 2022-2023 Arts and Activism Awards are the student group Words, Writing Organizing to Represent Diverse Stories. And our second awardee is Rachel Kitchlin. Congratulations. I do know Words had to exit early this evening, so they will be presented with their award at a later time.
Okay. Academic excellence. The son of a runaway slave, Paul Robeson attended Rutgers College in New Brunswick on an academic scholarship, becoming the university's 3rd Black student. His scholarly accomplishments included being inducted into the Phi Beta Kappa Society and Rutgers Cap and Skull Honor Society. At Rutgers, Robeson, who spoke more than 15 languages fluently, honed his oratory skills as a member of the Intercollegiate Debating Association. He was valedictorian of his graduating class in 1919. The recipients of the Academic Excellence Awards are students who excel in the classroom while maintaining a consciousness of social issues outside of the classroom. The recipients of the 2022-2023 Academic Excellence Awards are Alana Nesbitt, and Kennedy Jackson. I'll do it next time. I'll do it. Don't fall. Social Justice Leader Award. Paul Robeson once said, "The answer to injustice is not to silence the critic, but to end the injustice." The recipient of the Social Justice Leader Award is a student that has demonstrated a continued pursuit of social justice within Penn State, State College, or the greater community. The recipient of the 2022-2023 Social Justice Leader Award is Eno Abrifa and Anton Aliquin. There. I don't think Anton's here. Paul Robeson once said, so next up is the PRCC Image Award. Paul Robeson once said, the answer to injustice is not to silence the injustice, of course, again, silence the critic, but to end the injustice. The recipient of the PRCC's Image Award is an undergraduate or graduate level student who embraces the mission of the PRCC and demonstrates a continued pursuit of respect and inclusion. The recipient of the 2022-2023 PRCC Image Award is Star Lawson. And the final award awarded by the Paul Robeson Cultural Center is our Students of the Year. Robeson noted, through my singing and acting and speaking, I want to make freedom ring. Maybe I can touch people's hearts better than I can their minds, with the common struggle of the common man. The recipients of the PRCC Student of the Year Award are undergraduate or graduate students who through their actions have made a difference in racial justice and equity at Penn State, and through those actions, words and examples, through their actions, words and examples, have showcased the values of the PRCC. The recipients of the 2022-2023 PRCC Student of the Year Award goes to Ava Starks, and Rhea Petty.
Kayla.
The final award that's being presented is a student award created by a student in honor of her cousin. I'll give you some more, I'll let her tell you a little bit more about it. This particular award has a monetary value of $500.
Hi everyone, my name is Kayla Marrero and I am a junior majoring in public relations and Spanish and a minor in entrepreneurship and innovation. So I created the Saeed Woodson Memorial Scholarship in honor of my cousin's 21st birthday. My cousin Saeed was an important person in my life as he was like a big brother to me. He would make me sandwiches when I would get hungry, and he would text me how proud he was during important moments in my life. He was the person that I never thought I needed, but he was also the same person that made my life a little bit brighter. When my cousin passed away, he took a piece of my heart with him because we were supposed to go to a college interview that same weekend. He was a very ambitious and hardworking individual. He had dreams of pursuing a career and planned to attend college after graduation. In addition to his study, he was on a bowling team and he focused on classical history and the Latin language. I made the scholarship prompt about gun violence because it impacted my life, and I wanted to give a safe space for the applicants to talk about it as well. He left a huge impact on my life, so this scholarship was created as a way to give back to the community who had similar experiences as me. All right, so I'm grateful to announce that the winner is Mackenzie Jackson.
Let's have another round of applause for our student leaders and this year's awards winners. Up next, we will have a performance by KPMD. Following the performance, we'll have reflections from Mr. Gary Abdullah Sr., one of the founding members of the Cultural Center.
Everything I do it A1, flawless. Make them go insane, pandemonium, riot. Always looking fresh, got the green in my diet. Head to my toes, shining like canary diamonds. Yeah, freedom, cool kiss, not into it. Going stupid, saucy. We a movement, never losing. Making moves, stay poppin'. Giving my all, will it pay off? Working overtime, no days off. All these shooting stars in the dark. All these shooting stars in the dark make a wish. Take it off from the ground, it's amazing. It's so out of this world, I'm in space, now I'm going up. Heading to the stars, wouldn't tread it up. For another life, no. Yeah, we riding on up. So shining for sure. Ooh, I am looking so lavish. Ooh, I pretty boy like it's a habit. It's a big move. Every day's like a dream. Making big moves. Yeah, we do it for a team. Ooh, I'm looking so lavish. Ooh, I bet you can imagine. I be the one, don't need a stunt, cause we cool and suit and booty just for fun, You couldn't run up on me, I'm too out of this world. I got that spaceship jumping ready for my lunch. I don't care for my bread, I'm just going dumb. I ain't tryna fire shots, but they do it all. I know they're watching me, I'm on a wannabe. Nobody touching me, I got this energy. Baby boy, giving my all, will it pay off? Working overtime, no days off. All these shooting stars in the dark. All these shooting stars in the dark make a wish. Take it off from the ground, it's amazing. It's so out of this world, I'm in space, now I'm going up. Heading to the stars, wouldn't tread it up for another life, no. Yeah, we riding on up. So shining for sure. Ooh, I'm looking so lavish. Ooh, I put it one like it's a habit. It's a big move. Every day's like a dream. Making big moves. Yeah, we do it for a team. Ooh, I'm looking so lavish. Ooh, yeah, I bet you can't imagine. Oh Oh, you're rocking with a dream team. Call me stripping when we hit the scene. Oh, you're rocking with a dream team. We're shooting from another galaxy. And you know we take it all the way. Lights and camera action is just how we live. Don't get it twisted, this entire play. Just know that action's going on. So shine it, shine it, shine it for sure. Shine it, shine it, every day is like a dream, make it big moves. Every shake is on the queen. It's so lavish. Oh my God, that you can't imagine. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright.
Hi, my name's Gary Abdullah, and it's thrilling to be a part of the 50th anniversary celebration for the Paul Robeson Cultural Center, Walnut Building, Walnettos, Robe. I mean, anything 50 years old is going to, have an evolution. It is thrilling and confusing. When I came here in 1970, I was a skinny 17-year-old nerd from an all-boys school in Philly. I didn't think any of us, myself or any of the people who were involved in the planning for what became the Robeson Center, we weren't looking to form any 50-year-old institutions. We were just very loud, very insistent about finding the things and instituting the things that we saw were right. I've talked to several alumni who are struggling just as much as I am to remember the specifics of exactly what we did 50 years ago. Memory's the first thing to go. But like the poet Maya Angelou said, you may not have a real strong hold on what people say to you, but you'll always remember how they made you feel. And that's where the confusing part comes in for me, because I distinctly remember the faculty who told us as we were sitting in meetings that things like a Black Cultural Center and Black Studies were the dumbest, most un-Penn State things they'd ever heard of, and were never going to happen around here. So, celebrating in this illustrious setting is thrilling and tricky. But here's a positive side. I remember people like the President John Oswald, who was visionary enough to look past the naysayers and support those crazy students when they were asking for programs that eventually became the Bunton-Waller Scholars, the Africana Research Center, and of course, the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. So, my memories of the process of the Paul Robeson Cultural Center aren't exactly all rosy, but they're definitely hopeful. Because I can tell today's students from experience, stick it out. Continue to push for those things that you see should be made right. Dr. King was right. The arc of the moral universe is definitely long, but it bends toward justice. It may not happen fast. It may take 50 years, but change happens when you stick it out. Thank you.
We're nearing the end. So we have several people we wish to thank. Let's see. The performance. Right? We have several people we wish to thank. When we first started having this event this large, we wanted to make sure that we did it right. We've been supported through and through by an amazing cast of characters, friends, family, constituents, student affairs partners, students, etc. We'd like to thank Dr. Neely Bendapudi for your continued support. Penn State Student Affairs, Dr. Andrea Dowhauer, Interim Vice President for Student Affairs. The Office of the Vice Provost for Educational Equity, Dr. Marcus Whitehurst. The Affirmative Action Office, Dr. Susanna Dare. The Graduate School, Penn State Student Affairs, and WPSU. Special thanks, and I would like to invite these individuals to the stage. Leslie Larson, Sarah Kipp, Holly Sterner, Stephanie Weitzel, Audrey Montera. The individuals whose names I called worked tirelessly to make sure this event happened. They stayed up late, oftentimes contacting people, reassuring them that things were moving smoothly, and making sure that they were all together. Thank you so much for your hard work. Thank you for keeping Brian from killing me.
He survived.
I survived, yes. Others we'd like to thank and recognize. Thank you so much, ladies. Our ASL interpreters, Joyce Gallagher and Hannah Guan. I hope I pronounced that right. Jenna Lewis in Student Affairs Marketing and Communications. Hub Robeson Center staff, Mary Edgington, the Senior Director for the Hub Robeson Center, Brad Wagner, and Ms. Peggy. Penn State Libraries for their collaboration with us. Penn State Student Equity and Identity Caucuses. The PRCC ambassadors, Kalani, Morgan, Darius, Alyssa, Avnish, Star, Daniel, Jonathan, Gigi, Denaya, Ava, and Nana. PRCC Search Chair, Dan Murphy. Student Affairs DEI staff. The Graduate School, whose entire staff is the interim staff. WPSU and Topher York. Sydney Gibber and Carter Gangle. To the interim staff, just a few to recognize. Graduate Assistant Justin Baker, Dr. Tiara Dinkins, Raven Bedford, Graduate Assistant Mr. Andre Colbreth, who drove up to see us tonight. Tammy Dudick, Erlene Escoto, Celeste Good, Jacqueline Jones, Audrey, Kayla Mundley, Adrian Thompson, Terrence Venable, Stephanie Weitzel again, Damon Zweizig. We will be settling things with the silent auction towards the end of the night, so if you've placed a bid, please make sure you meet us near the silent auction. Silent auction donors we'd like to recognize our DJ Justin Augustine Sr., Mr. Darrell Daisley, Melissa Diamante, Angela Guy, Shelley Hogan, Leslie Larson, Emily Taylor, Stephanie Danette Preston, the Graduate School, the Penn State Parents Program. Sorry, y'all know I bring everybody with me. Thank you to our university and community leaders and sponsors. But before I go, I would also like to to do one thing. And I need not Ava, who has it? Rhea, got you. So he's probably gonna turn beet red. But there's somebody who always does stuff for us all and very rarely gets recognized for the efforts. Brian Peczkowski. Of course you're gonna kill me. Speaking to the mic. I've known Patch, and it depends on how you know him. I've known him since he was a graduate student, and I was the assistant director in the Cultural Center. When the vacancies happened in the Cultural Center, Patch asked, and of course, for Patch, I'll do it. Patch is the silent advocate. He's always behind the scenes making things work. He never puts himself first and always has the best interests of the students, the affinity groups, and others. He's counsel to many of us, very many of us. He's wise beyond his years. He may not have doctor in front of his name, but he is more than that. So, in recognition of Brian Peczkowski, Patch, however you know him, thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this monumental occasion. Please spend some time with us afterwards for the party at Club Walnutos. I don't know how to pronounce this, but I saw it. I hope you have fun. But our last performance, because we flipped it in the program, is by Evan Buckner. He's a graduate student in plant pathology. Thank you all.
Everybody, just 3 short pieces that I'll be playing tonight. This first one was featured on Al Green's 1972 album. Okay, sorry, 2 short pieces. Thank you. I'm kind of at odds for which of the last piece to play. So, in keeping with tonight's honor of the PRCC, I'll play a piece that Paul Robeson was once recorded singing, and I will let you all guess the title to it.